Mr. Dion has been urged by a lot of his Liberals to downplay the green shift because they're having such difficulty trying to convince people it's a good idea.
Policy announcements or promises, rather, that just don't seem to add up to you?
Well, one of the major ones in this campaign that's going to start to get looked at closely is the Liberal green shift. It's saying it's going to raise $15 billion in taxes and then only return about $9.5 billion in corporate and personal income tax reductions. So that's not a revenue neutral plan. That is a net gain for some people and a net loss for others, and that's not the traditional definition of being revenue neutral. So that's one example. A lot of
there's personal income tax cuts of about $17 billion, corporate taxes about $8 billion, manufacturing and transportation 2.1, and then there's 8.4 for family support and child tax benefits, and another 1.9 million for low and middle income workers, and 250 million for seniors, for example. So it all adds up to they say up to $40 billion in and $40 billion out.
Finances. This is a $40 billion trust us, right? And what I mean by that is on the shift, you're saying 40 in and 40 out. How can you guarantee to people that the tax you collect will be spent back out, that they'll get it back? Why should they believe you? Because that's a lot of money to say that you're going to take in and then give back.
And then they intend to raise $40 billion from Canadians through the green shift consumption tax, but they say that $40 billion will go back to Canadians in tax cuts or tax credits and various other programs for seniors, for example, and people with families. Mr.
For families and companies. Cut the income tax of families, cut the income tax of companies. Tax cuts only. First. Second, we are not asking for a blank check.
But for those in Canada facing the most extreme poverty, Aboriginal Canadians, you've scaled back your promise by 60%. So how do you explain the fact that the Kelowna promise that used to be worth $5 billion is now only a $2 billion promise?
We will be there during our mandate. We'll reach the yearly level of the Kelowna Accord. But we'll not start right away at this level because it's a prudent platform within.
I actually wanted to talk about something that Mr. McCallum said right off the bat, which was that they may not be able to start some of their promises right away if elected.
Yes, he certainly said that. Mr. McCallum saying that they base their projections on 7-month-old figures supplied by the Finance Department, and he says they hope that commodity prices stay up and interest rates are down, that they'll be able to have the revenue to be able to fulfill their election promises. But he also said, we don't know how the economy will grow. He says if the finances are rosy, we will be able to introduce and fulfill our promises. But he said if that's not the case, then they may not be able to be speedy in meeting their election spending promises. So, yes, they have these promises, but maybe they can't fulfill the promises, all based on data that was 7 months old. So they've got some explaining to do here. Basically, they're telling Canadians, we're going to give you these promises, but we can't guarantee that the economy is going to be good enough that we can fulfill them right away.